Brilliant. It's Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, and I'm here with Simon of Cult Burial, self-described as the old school death metal band from London, but there's a lot more to them than that. We'll get a bit more into that. Simon, how have you been holding up throughout 2020, the year of COVID?
It's been all right. It's been okay. Yeah, I mean, we made an album in the whole time. The band didn't exist at the start of 2020, so yeah, musically speaking, it's been pretty productive, I guess. And yeah, it's been okay. It's been, it's been worse years.
Okay, that's good. Has it been easy for yourself, like mentally, to stay in a positive mind frame, considering the restrictions and when it comes to the band side of things? Obviously, even though it's a fairly new band, anything you could do potentially, like going out and playing live, just got, it wasn't there.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I've been like other bands before. I never particularly enjoyed playing live in bands anyway. I like more like writing stuff and recording stuff and the production side of things. Like, mixing and that kind of thing I'm sort of more into than playing live. I used to like practicing all that kind of stuff right up until the point where you have to like play a gig, and I'd hate it.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, and so from that point of view, it's okay, and I quite like having lots of time to do other stuff. So for me, it's not been the worst thing, to be honest. It's a bit annoying to not be able to go to certain places and that kind of thing, but again, it's a bit of a first world problem, and it's temporary, and it just means I've got more time to do other stuff. So all in all, not too bad.
As you already said, obviously Cult Burial, a very new entity with what is quite an immense output quite quickly. An EP earlier at the start of the year, the album a few weeks ago. Is this all thanks to this amount of downtime that you've had?
No, not really. I mean, kind of, I guess, to a certain extent, because at the weekends you go, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to go write some songs. So I guess to a certain extent, having not too much other stuff to do has been helpful, sort of creatively and artistically, I suppose. But yeah, no, it's just been, it's nothing particularly like linked to COVID. It's not like, some sort of outpouring of rage as a result of the sort of virus flying around and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, certainly having more time allowed me to sit and spend more time writing songs and coming up with riffs and mixing tracks and remixing tracks and doing it 7, 8, 9 times over. So yeah, it's been pretty beneficial.
You sound like you got a bit of a workaholic head when it comes to making music.
No, I like sitting and pottering and sitting in front of recording software and just trying things and coming up with new things and messing around with software and that kind of stuff. I'm a bit geeky when it comes to like audio engineering and that sort of thing. So I mean, yeah, from that side of things, it's pretty cool.
Is that part of possibly like your day job? Do you do anything in regards to music, sound engineering and stuff like that?
No, nothing at all. But I do it at home. I mean, the whole album was mixed in my spare bedroom. And I didn't do the mastering. A guy called Chris Coulter did the mastering. He's a very good audio engineer in his own right. And but the mixing was all done at home. Recording all the guitars, drums, and the bass and that kind of stuff was all done. Some of it actually was done just on a laptop with like a tiny little sound card in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, it's been quite a DIY approach to the whole thing, really.
And what about your sort of skills? Are you kind of self-taught?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, on everything, which is why I'm not that good. It takes me forever to come up with stuff, or like lead bits and those kind of things. Come up with weird and wonderful stuff that just doesn't work. So songs either kind of happen kind of like quite straight away and kind of immediately, or they just don't happen. So yeah, I know metal-wise people tend to be pretty technically minded, and I'm not, unfortunately. So yeah, self-taught, and I don't think I even taught myself that well, to be honest. But I don't know much music theory and that kind of thing. Like I know some basic notes and I can play some chords and I know what sounds good with that. But other than that, yeah, that's where it stops.
Okay. I mean, for those who don't know as well, though, well, considering all of that, why and how did you get involved with Cesar for the lyrics and the vocals?
So, I mean, he's just a guy we just sort of got in contact with about the project, and obviously I had some tracks and I was looking for a vocalist, and I heard this guy and I was like, yeah, man, he's got some nasty stuff going on in his voice. And you know, the guy's vocals are just absolutely brutal. And he was happy to be involved in the project. So, you know, it's like I said, you know, so it's a studio project. There's no live playing. So it works pretty well with the kind of, you know, the magic of you know, all the kind of recording software and stuff we can have in our home these days. So yeah, he liked the project, he liked the stuff. We sort of talked about the, you know, the sort of lyrical sort of direction and the vocal kind of direction, and it just sort of seemed to work quite well.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And obviously, like you said, you know, while COVID didn't inspire it, most of it was written during the COVID times. The album, I mean, the self-titled album. What about the whole situation then, in regards to what I guess helped inspire your writing? What were you focusing on?
So I've never been in a metal band before. I've never made metal music. The band was kind of inspired by a particular guitar that, and it sounds funny, but it's not a joke. I sort of drunkenly bought it without realizing, and well, yeah, I guess. And it sort of turned up, and I bought this guitar off this guy because it was. It's an aluminium guitar and it has an aluminium neck and has a certain sound, and it's really hard to buy a new one because the wait list is like 2.5 years for this guitar. This guy was selling one. I was like, oh mate, I'll take it. And I found him on this Facebook group, and I was like, yeah, I'll buy that guitar. Thinking it was a regular guitar, and then it turned up and I was like, shit, it's a baritone, and which means it's got like, you know, it's like a couple inches longer than the neck, and it's made for like drop tunings, and it's naturally tuned to 3 steps below a regular guitar. And I was like, damn, I didn't even think to ask that. This guy just like sent me this guitar. So, and I was like, well, you know, I've always wanted to make some heavy music. I like heavy music. So let's go, you know, record some heavy songs. And I think just because, you know, it's such a new thing, lots and lots of tracks and ideas came out pretty quickly. But yeah, it's all because of one Friday night hitting the boost too hard and agreeing to buy this guy's guitar without really doing any kind of digging as to what it was. I just saw the picture. I was like, yeah, I want it. So that's why Cobra exists, I think.
That is an amazing story. You know, you hear so many, and a lot of the sort of standard playbooks. Oh, I want to play it this way. I want to do it this way. I looked at the window and I got mad at political figures and so on. This is why I started a band. But that one is a brand new one.
I was just pissed and accidentally bought it. That was it. I was like, damn, I need to justify it to myself now. And my missus was like, what's that thing that's just arrived? And I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to make this work. So yeah,
it's worked though. As of the time of recording, we're almost 3 weeks now. Yeah, tomorrow 3 weeks since the release of the self-titled album. How have you found the reaction to it? So overall,
it's been pretty amazing. I've got to be honest. It's been quite surprising. It's been, you know, pretty successful, and people have been very kind to say nice things about the tracks, and you know, everything from just the sound of the heaviness of the record to the vocals to the, you know, the guitar parts, the whole sort of composition of it. And the thing that's really been cool is, you know, there's people have kind of recognized there's a lot of kind of variety in the record for what is, I guess, you know, considered to be quite an extreme record, or quite, you know, musically quite extreme. So that's been nice. It's been nice seeing people posting about it. You know, there's loads of stuff going on Instagram, people posting copies of their vinyl, people talking about it. You know, you guys have, you know, reviewed it and, you know, come back and said some really great things. So obviously it's, you know, it's nice to read. You know, we've only had good reviews. There's not even been an average one so far. So it's been, yeah, it's been amazing. It's been really cool, and certainly kind of, you know, gives you kind of inspiration and desire to go on and, you know, keep making more records.
Oh, great. And did you consider, or did you even get the opportunity to work with a label on it? Or were you very much in a DIY mindset?
It was very much in a DIY mindset. I mean, to answer your question, there was never an opportunity to speak to any labels. I've been on labels before in other bands, and I never particularly enjoyed it. I always kind of found it a bit of a, I don't know, I think there's a lot of labels out there, and possibly not that many good ones. And you know, the ones that are not that great don't really kind of bring a lot, you know, to the kind of to the process of kind of releasing and making and like promoting a record. So I kind of wanted to do it all by myself, and I quite like doing it by myself, because then, if it goes badly, you've only kind of got yourself really to, kind of fall back on. And I sort of, that kind of works for me. So yeah, I mean, there was no chance to work with a label. That was fine. I mean, the whole record was, say, recorded and completed before it was sent to anybody whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty cool to do it all DIY, and everything from, we work with a PR guy who's been fantastic. He's helped us get some like opportunities to get some reviews and some press and that kind of stuff. So that's been cool. But I mean, the rest of it was very much intended to be a DIY project.
Oh, okay. And we've already talked a little bit about the variety in it, because the record is at its core the label old school death metal, but there's obviously more to it. You get a bit of doom, a bit of black. If you really dig around, you find a bit of progressive bit here and so on. Is it because it's a sum of your own personal influences?
Yeah, I think so. It's just I like all sorts of stuff. I wouldn't say that historically I'm like a massive metalhead, or like a big kind of metal fan, and I've liked all sort of quite different, diverse types of music, and that's obviously sort of crept into those kind of songs. But I mean, I've got to admit, for the last year, I've listened to nothing but savage metal, which is like, the heavier the better. But that's only a result of kind of making this record. Before then, I wasn't particularly doing listening exclusively to that kind of music. But since I've been doing so, I've been listening to some amazing stuff that's out there, and some real sort of mind-blowingly good albums. And it's a great year, right, for records. It seems there's so many good heavy records.
Incredible, yeah.
Amazing. I mean, so many great bands I've sort of discovered that I didn't know existed, or come out with these sort of great records. So it's from that point, just from my own kind of point of view of like I love finding new bands. I love finding stuff I haven't listened to. I love being blown away by a record and an album. So for me, it's been a great personal trip as well, just to discover kind of all these other cool bands that are out there. So yeah, that's been cool.
Yeah, and considering, as I said, there's these sneaky little bits that are above and beyond the old school death metal, and it's got quite a positive response from people who have either reviewed it or have mentioned it when they've heard it. Does that kind of, when going forward in the future, mean you would consider spreading your wings in that regard?
Yeah, maybe. I think, yeah, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe we'll turn them all into like 12-minute sort of. Maybe there'll be like Opeth Deliverance.
That's exactly what I thought of Opeth. I was like, yeah, but this is what we're going to get.
Exactly. Or what's it, Blood Incantation I was listening to the other day. And these sort of I don't know, maybe it'd be like drum and bass drops or something in the middle of the tracks. I don't know. I think so. I think it's probably going to be like, I quite like when things go from one extreme to the other, where either like songs are kind of quite long and have multiple different sort of genres kind of impacting them, and you can hear different stuff, and it really sort of takes you on a journey. But then at the same time, I like a 2-minute brutal, savage piece of music at the same time. So I guess the majority of the songs will probably end up falling into one or more of those camps. And perhaps on the debut, it was a bit like, I don't want to go in with songs that are too short. You don't want to go in songs that are too long. But then once you get a bit of a perhaps you get a bit of a following, it kind of allows you to kind of, like you say, spread your wings and really push the extremes of those sort of two viewpoints
of your imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
How about the social media side of things? The important part of being in a band these days, it's not just about music. Is that something you enjoy, or is it a bit of a necessary evil?
I don't know. It kind of depends. I don't mind it. I mean, the platforms don't make it too easy sometimes. Like everyone's got a Facebook page, but Facebook bluntly refuse to let you talk to anyone. So unless you send them a load of cash. So I think Instagram's been a pretty good platform. It allows you to kind of interact with people, and certainly recently we've had lots of interaction with people fans on Facebook, and people taking the record and chatting about it, and that's been awesome.
Oh, good.
It's a necessary evil, I guess, right? I mean, if you want people to listen to your record, you have to kind of you need to put some work into it and make some effort, and try and develop your kind of fan base a little bit. So it's nice to speak to people. It's nice to when someone comes back and just goes, hey, I love this track, or I love that bit of the song. I'm like, yeah, man, that's really cool. It's it's a really sort of what do you call it, like fulfilling moment when someone comes back and takes the time to either write about something or post about, you know, a bit of the record they like, or they come back and tell you the bit of the song that they like the most. It's really, yeah, it makes it all very worthwhile.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And last but not least, what's going on now then with Cult Burial and leading into the future? Going back, if I take what we talked about at the start of this interview, you probably got 2 or 3 records already written, right?
I don't know about 2 or 3 records, but I mean, I'm certainly halfway through the next one, and more than halfway through the next one, I think. But yeah, I think we'll probably spend a bit more time on. I mean, the first one came together pretty quickly. I mean, it was started in February. It was completely finished by June. So, you know, that's I think that's a pretty short period to finish a record. But I think the next one will take a little bit longer for a variety of different reasons. But yeah, I mean, certainly getting into the second one, and I say, you know, pushing what you kind of heard in the first record and maybe sort of taking it hopefully a bit further into some, you know, either slightly more extreme or slightly different directions.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's good to hear. Before you do go, actually, I wanted to ask as well, considering your disdain for live performances, do you perceive any future for Cult Burial on the stage?
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
Watch this space, right?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
I think that's a completely fair answer. Watch this space, see what happens as the months go on.
The fence. Completely, utterly sitting on the fence.
That sounds good. Simon, there you go. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?